Hello guys and welcome back. This is Mr. Siege. Now, KVK has been very interesting, and obviously we're going to get onto that shortly. And really, I want your guys' feedback more than ever in a video, because I'm not going to say too much in this video of how I feel, but I'm going to show you the facts about our KVK, what happened, what went down, and basically who won. I mean, in effect, we won KVK. But it doesn't exactly feel like we won KVK. Now, first of all, guys, if you're interested, 3069 My Kingdom, we are recruiting. We're looking for some top players in the game. We're now a low A seed kingdom, and obviously we need some crazy good players. We've got a lot already, including myself, of course. But yeah, we're looking for more players, so go check out my YouTube description, this video. So go in our Discord, create a ticket if you're interested. Follow obviously what we need, some screenshots of your gear, commanders, stuff like that. And hopefully we can get some really good players in for the next KVK, which obviously we're looking forward to, hopefully kind of soon. But we're pretty drained after this KVK. So I will explain, obviously, what's gone down. Now, first of all, let's go and look back at the camps. So we allied with Earth in the end, which obviously Fire and Wind weren't happy with, because Fire and Wind obviously were the other camps, the enemy camps, and they were sort of forced to ally together. I don't know whose decision this was. I don't know who made that decision. I am not part of Diplo, so I don't know. Now, I don't know what was gone on in Diplo. I don't know what was agreed with allies and enemies, if anything. Now, as we can see here, Fire Camp had the most power, nearly 70 bill power, and 1.9 trillion KP in total. But Earth had the most KP, 2.2 trillion almost, but lower power. So Earth were potentially the strongest camp here in this KVK. As you can see, the KP definitely wise, but power not so much. And Wind were kind of terrible. So they had an Imperium Kingdom 3060 with really high power and terrible kill points for obviously the power, which was kind of disappointing. So Fire were kind of forced to ally with them as such. And was there a better way? Earth could have allied with Wind, maybe. That could have potentially been a bit fairer. I don't know. Again, what do you guys think? We had this before in previous videos, obviously talking about the matchmaking, which was an absolute disaster. But Fire and Wind then said, obviously, this is going to be just a farming KVK now. Obviously, Fire over here, 379 was our main kingdom with nearly 1 trillion kill points. But, we've also got 1900 in Earth Camp with 800 billion kill points, which was crazy. And they had, potentially 3 other better kingdoms than what Fire Camp did. So, yes, they had one main, really strong kingdom, 3379. And as you know, 3379 actually beat 1960 in a Cyrus League. So that's kind of crazy. So we didn't expect much fighting, but that wasn't the case. You know what? This is probably the most fighting I'd ever had in a KVK, which is kind of crazy. So we set off past 4 opening, and yeah, we took on Fire. And as you've seen in previous videos, it was a tough battle, but we got there in the end. We beat Fire down. Now, I'm not sure exactly how much effort they put in. I don't know who came to the field, who invested in tech. We weren't expecting a fight, but whether Fire were, I don't know, but you'd expect them to. Although spoke to Turbo, obviously another Seed content creator, really good guy, and he was expecting to farm as well. But then he did spend on tech. So if you're expecting to farm all KVK, would you spend on tech? I don't know. So we beat Fire off, pardon the pun. They'd have enjoyed that a lot more. But we beat them. We beat them in zone 5 there. And then obviously we came over to the Wind side. And obviously Wind were a lot weaker, and it took no effort at all to push them out. We dropped a fort sort of around this area, and they couldn't even burn a fort right outside their pass 4s, which is kind of crazy. I know it came as a bit of a surprise to them, but they should have been able to do better. Now, when the pass 5s opened, Wind Camp decided to push 3060 out. 3060 out of the KVK, which is at deadweight Imperial Kingdom. Even though they actually did better in terms of the deads and the kills and stuff like that than some of the other kingdoms in this camp. So that was a bit confusing. So that was a bit of drama there as well. You know, we didn't really get anything from Fire Camp. They just left us. We had no altar fights because... So what was actually agreed apparently before KVK, when, you know, the camp Diplo, the camps were decided and who was allies and who was enemies, is if Earth had no fighting, I don't know if it's none at all or very little fighting, then we would actually give them a friendly fight in Kingsland. And I guess at that point we imagined that Fire and Wind were just going to do nothing or KVK. They were just going to sit in their zones, farm, or even go back to Home Kingdom. Now, obviously, that wasn't the case. We had a ton of fighting in Zone 5. We took on 2 camps in Zone 5 and won against both. Now, we have let them build now in these zones. I mean, I'm not really sure why, but anyway, they've got forts and some flags, of course, here. So, you know, we're not attacking them anyway. You know, as you can see, at peace with Fire. So, when Pass 7 opened, surprisingly, Fire Camp did stay in this zone, and we just sort of sat at the pass and let Earth have a bit of fun, because obviously they've done nothing all KVK, no altars, nothing at all. And obviously we get it, it's pretty boring for you. And yeah, that's disappointing for Earth. And at that point I presumed that means we get no fight in Kingsland, because Earth have had a bit of a fight. And I thought it was pretty straightforward. You know, we would get the star, really. Now, do I care about a star? Not really. I just want fights in my KVK. And believe me, we got fights, and I was really happy with that. But, you know, this is where it became a bit difficult. So we still had a fight in Kingsland with Earth. And obviously, this isn't how it looked, believe me. And I'll put some footage on screen. So I did record some of it, but it wasn't amazing. You know, we were pretty drained after fighting in Zone 5. We went all out to destroy Fire Camp and Wind Camp. And we held this area in Kingsland for a fair bit. And then, you know, we couldn't hold on 2 fronts over here and over here. So we just pushed over to this side and held that for a bit, as long as we could. We actually held in Kingsland for about 2 days. I couldn't take part as much as I wanted to, because I was actually on holiday in Legoland, which was great fun, by the way, guys. So, you know, nothing against that. But I did fight a little bit. I wasn't expecting a Kingsland fight, to be honest with you. I thought KVK was over weeks ago. So Earth obviously pushed us out of Kingsland, because Earth were pretty much the best camp in this KVK. They had, you know, 4 decent kingdoms. We were the 3rd best camp this KVK, so we were really drained. Obviously, with all the fighting were really done, and it was obviously we were going to get pushed out. Now, let's take a look at the final stats from KVK, because obviously, again, I don't know what was agreed. So, you know, was the KVK based on DKP? Was it based on the KP each camp got in the end? So, obviously, as you can see, Ulysses Water, we got 200 billion KP this KVK. You know, which is crazy. You know, a decent amount for a low, it's a low AC KVK. Earth got 84 billion, which obviously wasn't bad for the amount of fighting they had. Most of that was obviously from Kingsland, probably. I don't know how that breaks down. Now we did get more deads. Obviously, we got more kills in total. You know, even 2563 got 95 billion kills, which was more than Earth altogether. We did get a lower amount of kills in 2563, but I guess that was from Z5. We did take on the best in Fire. That was obviously 3379. Now we went on their side and we fought them, and you know, we took bad trades really in comparison to what we would do fighting some of the other kingdoms in that camp. And obviously that really does show in the KP there, because I wouldn't say we're a weaker camp than 2563, but obviously they outshone us, this KVK, in terms of KP, which again is not surprising, where we took the tougher fight in Z5, I guess. Now that's nothing against 2563. They did fantastically. They did really well. A proper strong kingdom there, and yeah, much respect to them. Now the only thing I question is who deserves the star this KVK? I can tell you now, it's not us that got the star, it's Earth. And you know, I'm not going to give my opinion on that because it's unfair. But I'm interested to see what you guys think about that. Do Earth deserve the star after all the fighting that Water Camp have done? You know, my camp. And, you know, they did win at Kingsland, pretty much fresh Earth camp, the strongest camp in the KVK. Does being the strongest camp then automatically let you deserve the star? I don't know. Now, let's talk about TRN. Okay, now, I knew a little bit about this kingdom before KVK. And obviously a strong kingdom, you know, they've had a lot of stars, a lot of wins. And there has been some interesting things about them on the Fleisch Discord server. You guys know him. And I believe they took a star off another kingdom, another camp that did more fighting in the KVK. And obviously that is what it is. I don't know the terms of that. There was a lot of stuff on that Discord server that I read, which was really interesting. But they basically were made out to have stolen the star and were pushed out of Kingsland. And you know, they said, you give up the star or we'll fight you for it. And I guess that's a similar situation. Now, it's not, TRN haven't come to us and said that in this KVK, I don't believe. Again, I have no idea about Diplo. But what is great is we do still get autarchs. Those top fighters out of our camp are still getting some rewards. So, you know, we're allies at the end of the day. And, you know, fair play, you know, they beat us in Kingsland and we are still getting some rewards. So that's fantastic. Obviously, we wouldn't want that taken away from all our fighters that have worked so hard this KVK for a win. Now, whether that was always guaranteed from the start, I don't know. But we've still worked hard for it. So, you know, fair play, and fair play to, obviously, Water Camp, which is us. I think we've done fantastic as KVK. We've all pulled our weight, as you can see from the KP we gained. And, you know, deads and stuff like that, we have done really well. Now, Earth, yeah, well done. You've earned this, you know, you've got the star this KVK. And, you know, I'm interested to see what you guys that are watching this video think to that. Anyway, let's go and have a look at my commanders now, because I always do this after KVK, and KVK is over. Well, in fact, first of all, let's just go on here and take a look at the individual leaderboard. Now, I did come 74th. I was about 35th before Kingsland, by the way. Now, obviously, as I said, I couldn't take part in Kingsland too much, so that's the best I could do. I still did well this KVK, and yeah, I'm totally low on my speed ups now. So, you know, I fought as much as I could do. Death points, you know, not crazy. I don't get a lot of deads really. And my heal points, 119. I healed a lot this KVK. You know, it wasn't easy. 21 billion resources spent healing. Although I get 2 billion back, so that's quite nice now. The 10%'s really good, to be honest with you. 1.2 mil deads. A lot of that was just from, say, stupidity. Okay, you know, I should never have had 330k siege die. That's from standing too close to flags. I did take some swarms. I filled flags myself, and, you know, that was just a bit of fun. In fact, I traded all right, to be honest with you. But yeah, I shouldn't have thought that many deads. But let's go and look at my commanders. So, as I like to do before KVK, is I like to compare, obviously, my commander kills to see how many they've gained in total. So Margaret, before this KVK, had nearly 56 million kills. So now she's got 65 million kills. So that's, you know, about 9 million kills just for Margaret, which is nice. Obviously, Margaret I paired with Cordoba. And Cordoba, before KVK, he had 40 million kills. So again, just a couple of KVKs and he's done really well. So 40 million kills has now turned into 51 million kills. So somehow he gained 11 million kills. I guess I did try him with other pairs a little bit. He was in the garrison with Baba as well. So he gained a few kills from that too. So 11 mil kills from Gonzalo, 9 mil from Margaret. That's 20 million kills for that pair, which is not the best I've ever done for a pair. I think I got like 26 million kills in my best ever KVK for that pair. But still, for one March, 20 million kills, I'm very, very happy with. Now, my second pairing, well, do we call it a second pairing? It's probably Garja with Baba. So before KVK, we have Garja with 29, nearly 30, well, basically 30 million kills. Again, pretty decent. So he's gained about 8 million kills. Nice, very nice indeed. So 8 million, and Baba, he had 48 million starting off with. So 48 has turned to nearly 56. So that's another 8 million kills. So that's a 16 million kill between that pairing. Now, not a bad pairing then to gain 16 million kills, really. So we've got 16 plus 20, which is 36 million kills. Now, the interesting is, how did John and Stephen do this KVK? Because obviously, that pair I've been struggling with. You've seen the swarms I've been getting from that pair, which is kind of crazy. John had 4.3 million kills before KVK and 11 million kills now. So about 6 million kills for John. Again, that's not crazy. That's 2 million less than some of the other commanders like Yagoj and Baba. Now, Stephen, again, let's see what he's got. So he had 4.3 million kills before KVK and nearly 11 million kills now. So that's 6.5 million kills. So they've probably got like 12, let's say 12 million kills for that pairing. So we've got 12 plus 16 is 28 plus the 20. That's 48 million kills in total from my 3 marches. Now, I did send Baba out a little bit, not Baba, sent Narcissus out for a little bit with Catherine, and, you know, really, really not much, guys. Look, 400 million kills, 400,000 kills, a very low amount. Obviously, there was some kills on that before KVK, but I didn't really get a chance to use it. It was too risky. It's getting swarmed down a hell of a lot, this KVK. So I didn't want to risk, you know, sending them out too much and just getting bad trades and costing me more in the hospital, because my speed ups are really, really low. Resources wise in the bag, I'm still okay, but speed ups, you know, 50 days, and I was down to about 30 days, and this was probably about a week ago. So, you know, 20 days in another week. It's not been too bad, but I really need to recoup these speed ups pretty fast for the next KVK. And yeah, overall, I feel like I've done pretty well for an AC KVK, that we were getting pushed a lot. You know, we weren't having an easy time with 3 siege marches, about 48 million kills. So yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. Now, guys, I would love to hear what you think about what happened in KVK, how you feel like we performed, or what you feel like maybe we deserved. Did we deserve more this KVK? I don't know. Also, we had no altar fights, by the way. Like, if we had an altar fight, you know, Siege performs so well in altar fights. I could have hit over 50 mil kills. I think I've got like 1 billion kill points this KVK. So that's pretty impressive for me. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Look forward to hearing from you. This is Mr. Siege, and bye-bye.